What I mean by you don't understand the show is that many people go into this series expecting something different. Upon seeing a girl in a bunny suit, they are often turned off, dismissing it as an ecchi or quick service fan cash grab. But I think it's far more than that. What if your emotions or lack of understanding of what lies ahead could warp reality for those around you? Emotions are powerful, and they often affect us more than we realize. Rascal Does Not Dream of a Bunny Girl Senpai is one of these shows. It is complex, demanding that you pause to reflect on what you just witnessed. This anime left me just as bewildered as when I started Steins Gate, a series I watched years ago, likely before I could fully grasp its concept or themes. I believe you need to take your time with this show to see the full picture. It features multiple character-driven arcs woven together, centered on an ordinary guy thrusted into the reality and concept of puberty syndrome. As defined by the anime, puberty syndrome refers to an adolescent's deep-seated psychological insecurities, emotional trauma, or intense societal pressures. While we dive deeper into the meaning of the story and clear up some of its more confusing aspects, as with everything I cover on this channel, it is best experienced first. Let's break down how this series uses the supernatural as a mirror for real-world trauma. Starting with the first arc, it is impossible to discuss the core of the show without looking at the catalyst, Mai Sakurajima. Her struggle isn't just about a celebrity wanting to escape the spotlight. It's about the terrifying, universal fear of being forgotten and the lengths we go in order to maintain a sense of self in a world that refuses to see us as we truly are. Mai's arc is about learning to live in the reality you choose and realizing you have more control over your future than you think. She initially wanted to disappear because she felt crushed by the weight of her own fame. She takes back her confidence by using Sakata as an anchor to stay grounded, allowing her to be seen again. This raises an interesting question. Isn't this syndrome a way to visualize insecurities pushed to their absolute breaking point? We see this across all the characters. Each person's trauma manifests physically because their internal issues were ignored. Faced with these situations, one has to wonder, how would you actually react if your own insecurities suddenly manifested in the real world? The nail that sticks out gets hammered down. This phrase is something I've learned about, and comparing it to Japanese societal standards makes perfect sense. The characters in Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai try to adapt to, or at least navigate, these social expectations. Japanese culture often emphasizes conformity to a traditional way of life. If you deviate from that, you risk being ostracized by the media or even your peers. Many anime illustrate this by showing how quick others are to judge or signal out the one who doesn't fit in. Bullying is a prevalent issue highlighted in anime, demonstrating the intense pressure on students. If your peers don't approve of you, you become an outcast, bullied for trying to be different, even for things beyond your control, such as a disability. It is no wonder Japan faces a mental health crisis. In this series, we see bullying take it to an extreme in the case of Kaede, Sakata's sister. Kaede was a regular middle schooler who experienced bullying so severe that the physical trauma manifested, physically as cuts and bruises, a visceral metaphor for how words can truly hurt. To cope, she mentally suppressed these memories, creating a split personality to shield herself. The new version of Kaede was more childlike, wearing a panda onesie and fearing the outside world. This trauma also caused their mother to have a mental breakdown, forcing her to live separately from her children and leaving their father to care for her. Kaede stayed with Sakata because he was the only one with the patience to truly understand her. After finally facing her fears of the outside world with Sakata's help, she regained her memories. While this was the moment the family had waited for so long, the effects of puberty syndrome meant that the childlike Kaede personality eventually disappeared. This brought Sakata to tears, as he realized that his sister, gaining her former self back, he had in a sense lost a version of her he had protected for so long. This anime is one of those where the protagonist seems unbothered by social expectations. By this I mean that Sakata is a character shaped by his direct experience with puberty syndrome, specifically through his sister, Kaede. Having lived with the reality of the syndrome for so long, he has become accustomed to its manifestations. However, his nonchalant attitude, which sometimes appears vulgar or overly blunt, is not a sign of indifference. Instead, it reflects his absolute honesty about his intentions and inner thoughts. While we have seen calm protagonists before, this portrayal makes such a personality flow naturally. Sakata's own puberty syndrome manifested as 3 large claw marks on his chest, a physical reaction to his sister's trauma. In a sense, he wanted to suffer alongside her, demonstrating that he was the only one who truly understood her pain and the abandonment they faced when their parents left. This highlights Sakura's emotional vulnerability. He may sound unconcerned, but he is simply being honest about his feelings. When he encounters others dealing with puberty syndrome, he approaches their situations with genuine care, as he has already built a relationship with each of them, whether they are a close friend, a love interest, or a chance encounter. We've discussed the syndrome of Mai and Kaede, but there was another arc that really impressed me and made me ponder its overarching themes. We are first introduced to Ryo Futaba early in the story. She is one of Sakura's friends and the smartest person he knows. She usually steps in to provide knowledge about each syndrome and explains them through theories. She wears a lab coat as the president of the science club. Her syndrome manifests as a duplicate version of herself, creating two Futabas. This split caused her to lose herself, and the second Futaba began posting explicit photos. It is later revealed that she is struggling to gain the attention of Sakura's friend, Yuma Kunumi, for whom she has feelings, which explains her behavior. It makes you think about the people you interact with each day, whom you don't truly ask how they are doing. The split reveals that she has been conflicted about who she wants to be. One side shows off her intelligence, while the other showcases her natural beauty. She realizes that she had physically developed earlier than her peers, which drew unwanted attention. As a result, she began dressing more modestly, letting her hair down, wearing glasses, and donning a lab coat to look baggier and less noticeable. I really enjoyed this arc. It not only illustrates the rebellious teen phase, but also serves as a commentary on how young women are often objectified before being seen for who they truly are, with Futaba representing both beauty and brains. Each of the syndromes highlights an emotion or trauma that manifests in supernatural ways. I think there is a lesson to be learned from each regarding how to better understand ourselves and one another. Looking back at high school, there were challenges we all went through as adolescents, some of which still persist. I can personally relate to this, as I harbored deep-seated rage towards the world and myself, which I took out on others in unhealthy ways. Ultimately, Rascal Does Not Dream of Bunny Girl Senpai is much more than its premise suggests. It is a profound explanation of the messiness of adolescence and the trauma we often leave unspoken. It forces us to confront our own internal struggles, making it a must-watch for anyone who appreciates character-driven narratives with genuine emotional stakes and authentic, refreshing chemistry. Whether you are here for supernatural mysteries, the growth of these characters, or the realistic romance between Mai and Sakura, I highly recommend giving this series a chance. It is far more than the title implies. This is only the first part of my breakdown. I am currently working on a second part to dive even deeper into the series. I'll be elaborating more on characters and explaining my thoughts as I catch up to the rest of the show, so stay tuned for more. Fiction is often reality. Watch more movies and anime. Remember to enjoy life. Peace.